Okay, I am going to now talk about keyframes. And let me show you what I'm talking about when I say keyframes. So keyframes refer to effects. They're a way of marking a value for an effect at a certain place. I'm going to show you probably the simplest example of a keyframe. So right here on the video, there's a yellow line going across the screen here. If you hold down Control and then click on that yellow line, you will see that it adds a little diamond shape. Now if you look up here in the top left square, if you are on the Effects Controls tab, you will see that it also adds a little dot there. Opacity is a dot. I'm not sure why everything else is a little diamond. That one's a diamond. Anyway, so we have a dot there where the opacity is at 100%. We're going to open up the opacity here, and this is your keyframe or animation toggle to toggle it on or off. You notice with the position one, when I turned it off, it gave me a warning saying that I was going to lose all my keyframes. If I were to do the same thing with opacity, yeah, you're going to lose all your keyframes. I don't actually want to do that. So these controls here will let you skip between keyframes. So if I hit this, it'll put my little cursor right on the keyframe, which can be useful. Say I want to go 15 frames ahead of this. I'm going to hold down Shift and push the right key. Each time I push it, it's going to skip 5 frames ahead. So that's 5, 10, 15 right there. I want to add another keyframe. I can hit this button here to add a keyframe, or I can Control click right there. They will both do the same thing, adding another keyframe for me right there. Now I can change the value of the keyframes. Let's say I want it to be 0 there and 100 here. Hit play and you'll see what happens up here on the screen. Yep, so what happens is it fades out from 100% opacity down to 0% opacity in the 15 frames that I specified. I can make this longer, moving this keyframe out. There are some options inside of, and the fade down takes longer. I can make it shorter. The fade will be quicker. Anyway, and if I change the value, it will automatically add a keyframe if animation is on at this new place. So now it fades down and back up. Anyway, that's kind of the idea with keyframes. Let me show you another thing that you might use them for. Now, let's say that I'm showing you on this screen of my tutorial what I'm clicking on with the mouse, but it's got the whole screen. I want it to be a little closer up. So let's say that right here where I'm at right now, I want to do a zoom in on where my mouse is. Okay, so we're going to add a keyframe for position and for scale. Now, I want to zoom in, and let's say I want it to take 5 frames to get there. So Shift right is going to move me 5 frames in. Now I'm going to adjust my zoom on this keyframe, and my position, this is left right, this is up down. I can also click, double click, and grab, and this will give me the same effect. It'll let me move the position. Now if you have another layer, another video on top of that, you'll actually select video 2 if you try and double click instead of video 1, but in this case it works. Now I don't have really great quality here, as you can see, but it's besides the point. So we're watching this. I want to show you something up close, and there we go. It does a little zoom. Now if we were to put these right next to each other, let's zoom in using the plus key and put them just, a frame apart. Can't get them any closer than that. Okay, now you'll see that it's just very jumpy. It's going to go right from, why is it doing that? Oh, you know what? I mixed them up, didn't I? These ones are supposed to be on that side. Okay, so it's going to go straight from there to there. There's no nice little movement, it just jumps. Maybe that's what you want sometimes. If it is, you just leave as small of a space as possible. Now if I make it a really, if I really increase this space, I can grab both these with the marquee and move them, maybe. I don't know why it's being stubborn. If I grab both of these and move them, zoom out a little bit, way out there, come on. Then you'll see that it takes a really long time to get. I mixed them up again, didn't I? Anyway, you get the idea. It's depending on how many frames you allow for it to get from one keyframe to the next will show you how long your effect is going to take. Let me show you some other instances where you might use this. So another really common place for this is if I have this clip that I'm showing, but let's say I want to bring this clip in just briefly, and then I'm going to fade back out to that clip. For example, let's say that this clip, I know it doesn't, but just bear with me. Let's say that it goes along with what I'm narrating. So I want to keep the narration going steady, but I want to switch from this video to this video. Whoops, I didn't mean to lock it, I meant to make it bigger. So what I can do is give myself a little more room here. I can put a keyframe in for the opacity right here. Let's say I'm going to have 10 frames to fade out. Okay, that's a pretty good fade. Won't look too jumpy. So I'm going to hit Shift right, and that's going to give me 10 frames. Now at this other frame, I'm going to make it go down to 0 opacity. And this one, maybe I actually want to have it start coming in a little bit before the other one's gone. So I'm going to scoot over one frame. With the magnet on, it's going to clip. It's going to stick right to where my cursor is. And I'm going to put a keyframe right there, right at the beginning, and drag it down to 0, because this one's going to start black and then in 5-10 frames be all the way up at 100% opacity. Perfect. So let me show you what that's going to look like. And I muted the audio from this one because, as I said in this example anyway, I'm not interested in the audio. I just want this video because maybe it shows what I'm talking about in my narration. So let's look at that. It's kind of wigging out on me. The audio pause. Let's try that again. So my computer's being a little jumpy, but you can tell one fades in, the other fades out. One more way to do this, let me show you. If you didn't want to use keyframes, let's click. If I click right on the keyframe and hit the delete key, it will get rid of the keyframe. If you don't click right on the keyframe, it will delete your clip, but you can just undo it. So let's say I want to do the same thing, but I don't want to use keyframes. We're going to go to the cut tool, the razor tool, by hitting C and click right there on the line. Now I'm going to go to Effects, Video Transitions, Dissolve, Cross Dissolve. I'm going to put one right here and another one coming in right here. Come on. There we go. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move it maybe. Come on. One clip over to the right. One frame, sorry, over the right, so that there's a little bit of an overlap. Oh, but now this frame, I'm sorry, we're going to have to put down to 0% opacity so that we get the transition. Okay, so now let's look at how that looks. Okay, that's a pretty long transition. If I click right on, you can see the transition on the top of the video here. It's just a little purple box. If I click right on the edge of it, I'll get this red bracket that lets me change the length of the actual transition. I'm not changing anything with the clip. I'm going to make these a little bit shorter because I don't like how long it took. Let's see that again. Anyway, kind of two ways of doing the same little trick there. And then you'd want to do another one as you're transitioning back into this clip. If I'm now going to move back into the original clip again, just by bringing the opacity back up here, or however you want to do it. You can use transitions or just change the opacity. And that's about it.